Settle in. Today, we're stripping away all that noise, the endless notifications, and the constant rush of modern life. Instead, we're looking at a single, profound truth about human existence, a truth that absolutely requires your complete and undivided attention. There is something you are losing right now, seriously. As you watch this explainer, as you sit there breathing, something incredibly precious is silently slipping right through your fingers. It's not your money. Wealth fluctuates, right? Fortunes are lost and rebuilt every single day. Bank accounts rise and fall. That's just math. And honestly, money can always be remade.
And it's not your health either. We get sick, we take our medicine, we heal. Our bodies are remarkably resilient, capable of bouncing back from the absolute brink. No, the thing you're losing is far more absolute. Time, that is the one resource you are bleeding every single second of every single day. And the profoundly painful truth, the reality that most people simply never confront, is that they don't even realize they're losing this completely non-renewable resource until the well is already dry, until it's just gone.
Part 1. The Illusion of Time. So picture this. 2,000 years ago, a man named Seneca sat down to write a letter. He was a highly prominent Roman philosopher, an advisor to emperors, and a guy who literally had everything the world tells us we need to be happy. Yet he was obsessed with one burning question. Why do people waste the only life they have? In his famous letter on the shortness of life, he wrote something that hits incredibly hard today. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, it is that we waste most of it." You see, the universe didn't shortchange us on years. The problem is how we allocate them. We're just spending our most precious asset on entirely the wrong things. Let's just paint a picture of a typical morning routine for us today. You wake up. Your eyes barely adjust before you instinctively reach for your phone, right? You check it immediately. You scroll through these carefully curated snapshots of other people's lives. You watch the morning news. You start worrying about massive global events you couldn't possibly control. And before you've even thrown off the covers and put your feet on the floor, an entire hour has vanished. That hour wasn't yours. Seneca had the perfect diagnosis for this kind of thing. He called it living for other people. Which brings us to this beautiful, ancient Latin phrase, omnia aliena sunt, tempus tantum nostrum est, meaning everything belongs to others, time alone is ours. Think deeply about the contrast here. Your reputation, your possessions, your money, all of that belongs to the external world. They can be taken from you, replaced, or rebuilt from scratch, but time? Spent time is gone into the void forever. It's the only thing we actually truly own, and yet we treat it like the absolute cheapest commodity. Part 2. The Preoccupied Man. Seneca spent a ton of time observing incredibly busy people. You know the type. People constantly rushing around, planning, waiting for the weekend, waiting for retirement, waiting for that magical right moment to finally start living. He called this archetype the preoccupied man. This is the person who's always moving but never actually arriving, always doing but never truly being. That illusion of constant, dizzying motion makes them feel productive and important. But the tragic reality? They're never actually alive in the present moment. They literally spend their entire lives getting ready to live, and then they die. Part 3. Suffering in Imagination. So what exactly are we doing with all this frantic motion? Well, we're engaging in the habit Seneca criticized the absolute most. Our own anxious minds worrying about things that haven't even happened. He said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. I really want you to let that sink in for a second. Most of the things you are terrified of will never actually happen. Think about those emotionally draining, hypothetical conversations you replay in your head at 2 a.m. They completely evaporate in the morning light. The massive disasters you're meticulously preparing for, they never arrive. And while you're busy agonizing over a future that literally does not exist, the present moment, the only moment that is actually real, is quietly slipping away. This totally unnecessary suffering is what's stealing your life. Part 4. Seneca's Nightly Reflection. So, how do we stop this bleeding of time? Seneca's solution was actually incredibly grounded. At the end of every single day, right before going to sleep, he would sit quietly and deliberately ask himself 3 simple questions. 1. What did I do today that I am proud of? 2. What did I do today that I regret? And 3. What will I do differently tomorrow? There was no massive, complicated journaling system, no hour-long meditation required, just 5 minutes of brutally honest reflection. Seneca believed with his whole heart that an unexamined day is a lost day. And a life made up of lost days, well, that's a life not fully lived. Part 5. The Power of No. Beyond that nightly reflection,
There is another absolute, non-negotiable necessity: learning to say the word no. Most people go through life saying yes to almost everything. Yes to obligations they don't even care about, yes to draining social events, yes to other people's priorities instead of their own. But your time is finite. Every single time you say yes to something unimportant, it acts as an automatic, silent no to something that actually matters to you. Slowly, quietly, without you even noticing, your life fills up with things you never actually chose for yourself. So the real question isn't just how you spend your time, it's who are you spending it for.
Reclaim yourself. This is quite possibly the most powerful directive Seneca ever put to paper. Notice he didn't say reclaim your schedule or reclaim your productivity. He said reclaim yourself. Because if you spend years performing for other people's approval, worrying about their opinions, and living up to their expectations, you lose the thread back to who you actually are. And for Seneca, the greatest tragedy isn't dying young. It's living a very long life that was never really yours.
The core truth we have to face is this: you aren't running out of time because life is inherently too short. You're running out of time simply because you keep giving it away. You give it to distraction, to comparison, to endless worry, and to other people's noise. The moment you can hit pause, even for just 5 minutes, and ask yourself honestly if this is how you want to spend your one shot at life, I promise you, everything starts to look completely different. Part 6. What are you postponing? As we close out this explainer, let's pull Seneca's philosophy out of the history books and apply it directly to your life today. What is the one thing you keep postponing? Think about it. That single thing you know truly matters to you. Is it a relationship, a bold creative pursuit, forgiving someone, or maybe just simply finding a little peace for yourself? Whatever it is, hold it in your mind. Because looking across the vast expanse of 2,000 years, Seneca would tell you, the best time to start was yesterday. But the second best time? That's right now.